What's up, everybody, and welcome to my channel. My name is Robin and I am Sunny Egg Girl on Instagram. If you don't follow me on Instagram, follow me on Instagram today. Now, let's get started. New York City Council is passing a bill that adds weight to the list of characteristics that are protected from discrimination. So that includes like your age, your race, your religion, yada, yada, yada. Protected from discrimination. What that means is that your employer cannot fire you or an employer cannot deny you work if you're fat or if you're skinny. You know, but it's for the fats. This also includes like being discriminated from housing and being discriminated against from like public accommodation. So now employers can't let people go from work for gaining too much weight unless there are restrictions as far as like, or requirements as far as like your job requiring you to be able to do something physically that being overweight cannot allow you to do. So like if you're a police officer and you weigh 400 pounds, you can't be on the force. You know what I mean? Same for like being a firefighter. You have to be able to climb up and down the ladders, all that jazz. It's got to be safe for everybody, including yourself. And if you're a police officer and you can't run, obviously you can't be overweight. So they're not included in this list. What they mean is that if you work at Starbucks and you weigh 400 pounds and you can't even get like in and out of behind the bar, your employer has to make accommodations for that. That's how I'm reading it, as far as like the news articles that I'm reading. You can't be denied employment for being fat. You have to be made, like somebody has to get, like accommodations have to be made for you, as if you were handicapped. So like if you were in a wheelchair, obviously like you can't be discriminated against for being in a wheelchair. How do I feel about this? I don't know. I'm very, very mixed about it because I didn't know that it wasn't already a thing. Like I didn't know that being fat wasn't already like protected. Okay, I figured out what I was trying to say. I didn't know that you were allowed to fire people for being fat. Like I didn't know that there wasn't already a law saying that you couldn't fire someone for being fat. I didn't know. I don't think that people were, or I don't think that people were being open about firing or letting people go for being fat, or like not hiring people for being fat. But now it's like set in stone in New York City, so like you can't do that. If I was an employer, would I let somebody go for being fat? I don't know. Because I used to be really big, not really big, not like 400 pounds big, but I was like 230 pounds at my top weight, and I weigh like 180 right now. But losing weight is not something that you can do like overnight. So I feel like firing somebody for something that they can't change or make like visible changes for you is wrong anyway. Like it's mean. So I wouldn't do that. Like I wouldn't fire somebody just for being fat. Would I personally, as my imaginary employer brain, would I personally try to let somebody go if there were like hygienic issues? Maybe, but I wouldn't even say that. Like I would probably find ways to just let them go, but it wouldn't be, I don't know. See, I feel bad because like I'm not an employer, but would I do that? I don't know. In the comments, let me know if you would if you would fire somebody for being fat. I think it's mean. I'm trying to figure out reasons or what I would say to somebody who did get fat and I had to let them go. I wouldn't let somebody go for being fat, I guess. Maybe I would, so like let's set up a scenario. If you were an employer and you worked in a historic building, so you couldn't make any changes to it, and your office was at the top floor, so a set of skinny stairs. This is a historic building. Historic, meaning that people were skinnier back in the day because America has just gotten fatter. If you were working in a historic building, you're at the top floor, you had skinny set of staircases, would you let somebody go if they could no longer get to their office because they weigh so much, it hurts too much to get up the stairs, they cannot get to their office? Or would you find accommodations for them, as in moving their office to the bottom floor? Which means it's going to cost more for you because let's say this is like a 5-story building. Each floor is their own business. You have a tiny staircase to get you up to your floor, and one of your employers has gotten fatter, and you have to accommodate them to continue to work for you. Would you move their office downstairs? Or I guess you could move them to like work from home. That's a slippery slope in its own, though. That is a slippery slope in its own. And I don't think I would do that. I feel like when you let somebody who has let their body go and you're like, work from home, it's fine. That's enabling them to like make them bigger. In my opinion. My mean opinion. I feel very mean. Maybe I would just ask them like, do you want to work here? She's like, it's 5 stories. Do you even want this job? That's so mean. Woo! I don't know if I could do it. But I mean, you would have to, right? If like you would have to if they couldn't get up to the office, you would have to. And the thing is too, this whole discrimination thing, the New York City discrimination bill is going to say like you would have to make accommodations for them. Like you'd either have to let them work from home if you were or are an office job. Like you'd have to, or you could just come up with another reason to let them go. I feel like a lot of these businesses in New York City are going to start having to come up with like other excuses to let somebody who's gotten fat go. I have no idea how they would go around it. Some people who are against the bill are saying that it is just going to be another big, it's just going to be lawsuit after lawsuit. Like people are just going to find reasons to sue the shit out of their employer and claim that they're being fired for being fat. Initial brain should always be that people are inherently good. That's where I always think that people are mostly good than they are bad. There are going to be some people who are going to sue the crap out of their employers. But the other thing too is that New York City is an at-will state. So that means that your employer can fire you with like no reason. They can just let you go. No reason. Which I thought that was a thing for everywhere, but I used to live in Arizona. I remember when I worked for a thrift store, we couldn't just fire people, we had to have a reason to fire them. But in New York City, you can fire somebody for any reason, like you didn't have to give them a reason. So there's a loophole for everything, but that's going to be a loophole for employers when they're letting people go for being fat. It's like they don't have to give you a reason for letting you go. Which is why New York City is a union city. So like a lot of unions in New York City. So I feel like people are going to come up with fat unions to protect the fats from being fired or discriminated against. Here's the thing. I don't think that you should discriminate against somebody for wanting to make money. You know what I mean? If somebody wants to work and because they're fat, you're going to let them go. I don't think that's right. So I'm mostly okay with this bill. However, I feel like there should be some more details. No, they're not going to be for this. My initial thing would be like, you should be able to let somebody go if they cannot get to their office. So going back to the building, if they can't get to their office, you should be able to let them go if they can't do the job, right? I feel like before you let them go, it's kind of like how back in the day they used to say that before you can get a divorce, you have to go through like counseling. So I feel like before you can let somebody go for being fat, you should give them like a window, like, hey, you can't do this. So like, I'm going to give you 3 months for you to show some progress as far as like getting your health together because first of all, I care about you as my employer. I'm thinking I'm an employer. I care about you. You're my employee. We've been, working together for a year. And I care about what happens to you. And it's not just making money. Like I care, like if you died tomorrow because you had a heart attack, I would be fucking sad. So I'm going to give you 3 months. I personally would offer like pamphlets and stuff like that to my employees as far as like I'm a big fan of keto diet. Obviously I'm keto. So I'd be like, here's some diet plans for you. I would offer that to my employees. I'd be like, hey, here's some meal plans. Or I'd be like, we're going to do a luncheon and provide lunches for my employees on like Fridays, healthy food. And then maybe they'll like the healthy food and they'll want to make that at home. I don't know. But I think that would be a good idea rather than just set in stone. No, you cannot let people go because they're fat. Like I feel like you as an employer have a right to the team that you want to build. Everybody has to get along. If you are too big and then you get to stay home and work from home, I work from home. It's not easy. It's very debilitating on like my mental health to work from home. Humans are social animals. We have to be around other humans. As much as I even don't like to leave my house some days, I know that if I stayed home all the time, because this used to be my office, I worked from home, it was very, very mentally debilitating. I know that when I started working with an office, I felt a lot better. And I love my office gals. We're office pals, okay? some days I don't want to talk to anybody, and I just don't talk to anybody. I have a very small office, and everybody kind of has like their own quirks. So we all like just are open with letting people know, like, hey, I'm gonna shut my door today. You know what I mean? So I don't like the idea of accommodating and letting them go work from home because they've let their body go, especially if you just watch them like over 2 or 3 years and they've just gained more and more and more in weight, and now they can't make it up the stairs, and then you have to send them home to gain even more weight because now they're not even leaving their house to get to work. So they're not walking anywhere. They're just working from home. They're basically it's basically like a rat in a cage. And they're just going to get fatter and fatter and fatter. And I don't, and this is a snowball. It's a slippery slope. And it's not good. That was a little bit ranty. But anyway, back to the other bill that's on that, back to the other bill that they're trying to pass, the tattoo bill. I'm a person with tattoos, right? And piercings. When you get a tattoo and a piercing, especially if you get it in a visible spot right now, I'm 32 years old. So even when I was like 20 and I got a tattoo on my arm, my parents thought that my job, I was never going to get another job. Like I couldn't cover this up. You know what I mean? Tattoos on the hands were a big no-go. I was never going to get a tattoo on my hand. I would get a tattoo on my hand now. I'd get a tattoo on my neck now. I actually want a tattoo on my neck. But that's because when I was looking for employment, I always asked the employer, can I have tattoos here? Can I have tattoos? Can I have piercings? And I can. And look at me. I got this pierced a year into my job and nobody said anything. Nobody did a thing, right? So do I think though that you should not be able to discriminate against somebody for having tattoos? I think you should be allowed to. They're not for everybody. Tattoos and piercings are not for everybody. You shouldn't discriminate against somebody for having tattoos, but some people's tattoos are like a little too much. Do you know what I mean? A little too much. And I'm not gonna hire you. If you come into my work and you've got something gross on your neck, or you've got like fuck on your fingers, I don't think I'm gonna hire you because you're gonna offend some of my customers. I have tattoos, but my tattoos are like flowers, okay? I have dreams of owning a coffee shop. And personally, I feel like I would hire people with tattoos at my coffee shop. But in my imaginary brain, if I'm somebody who owns like a bank in a small town and you wanted to work at my job and you've got a face tattoo, what are you doing? What are you trying to do at work at a bank? And then if you want to work at a bank and you have a face tattoo, I guess you can like do it and cover it up, but don't come into the interview with it. Hand tattoos. You can't cover up hand tattoos all the time. So if you want to come and be a lawyer and you don't have a cool lawyer employer and you've got like hand tattoos and one of them says like fuck such and such and then break the law, then I'm not going to hire you at my law firm. You know what I mean? Nobody's going to have break the law on their hands unless they're a goober. But yeah, just think about that. Like tattoos have always been, and I feel like I feel like if they pass the law, then I feel like tattoos are like not even cool anymore. Because the reason why you got tattoos is because it was like daring. As far as me, I got tattoos because I love them, obviously. Like I love getting tattoos. I love the idea of getting tattoos, picking out art that I'm gonna have on my body forever. But the other thing too is like, okay, now I'm gonna have to like force myself to find a job that allows tattoos or allows earrings like this, like stretched earlobes, and piercings. Like piercings, I got this piercing, my septum pierce, because I used to have like the little bars, and then I'd flip them up. And then like 5 years into like owning my nose ring, I was like, fuck it, I'm just gonna have a job that I don't have to do that anymore, because I hated having the horseshoe because it would be like off all the time, like it would be crooked all the time. So I love my little bull ring, never crooked, and I get to wear it all the time. But yeah, I just kept like making sure with every employer I got, can I have tattoos? Can I have piercings? Can I have tattoos? Can I have piercings? At my interviews, I would always take my piercings out, and I would always I would wear earrings that weren't like tunnels. So I'd wear plugs that weren't tunnels. And then I would always cover my tattoos when I go to the interview. And then that's when you ask, can I have tattoos and piercings here? And then when they go yes, then you say, okay, I have a nose piercing and then I have tattoos on my arms. Is that okay? You kind of like feel out to make sure that the employer is okay with you. Here's the thing. If you nail your interview and you have a great personality and you have tattoos, I'm sure the employer will still hire you. But making it a law that they cannot discriminate against you for having tattoos is weird to me. So I'm not for that law. Let's keep tattoos crazy. Let's keep tattoos risky. You know what I mean? Keep that coolness to it. But that's it. Yeah, I guess I will kind of keep an eye out on the bill and see if the mayor passes it. I'm sure that he will pass the bill in New York City. And that's going to kind of like set a precedent. There's going to be a lot more cities in the United States that are going to pass a bill similar to this. And I guess I'll keep you updated. But yeah, don't forget to subscribe and like this video, leave a comment. Paint me Birmingham and tell me if you would fire somebody for being fat and how you would go about doing it. Do you think it's wrong? I'm on the fence. Most of me is saying, yeah, why would you fire somebody for being fat? But then the extreme is like, okay, they've gained 200 pounds in 2 years. First of all, that's a sickness. I feel like something's wrong with you hormonally. Or, mentally, maybe you have an eating addiction or an eating disorder. But paint me a picture. How would you go about firing somebody if you had to? And don't forget, follow me on Instagram. I'm Sunny Egg Girl on Instagram. I do like reels, and I try to be like a little bit educational, but mostly funny. I'm not that funny, but I hope you guys are hydrated. Yeah. Ba ba boop ba 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 doop doop beep ba boop beep ba boop ba ba